Okay, hello everybody and welcome to another C++ tutorial. Today we're going to be going over how to create a Windows Form application and how to perform some basic functions with it. So the first thing you're going to want to do is just go to New Project and open up a CLR project, go to Windows Form Application, and I'm just going to name it Tutorial 2. So, and as you can see I have a program open in the background, you won't have. So, when you first open it up, you'll see that it gives you this form, and if we run the program now, that's just what's going to come up. So, and here it is. So, basically what it does is this is a blank form, and you can put whatever you want on it, and you can use it to do everything you need to do. So this is the same way other applications such as Word or Google Chrome are made. Using a similar process. So using this form, I'm going to first show you how to change some properties of it. So one thing that you might want to do is, for example, change the background color. If you want to change the color, you can go to any of these. You go to, well actually, if you don't have this properties window, it might be minimized on the side, so you just hover your mouse over it and then pin it down if you want. That's my preference. So I could just change it to like pink or red, or let's change it to I don't know. I kind of like to just keep it at whatever the control color is. But yeah, you can mess around with that, or if you want to change it to a background image, you can just click on background image, and then you can navigate to the file path in your computer, and you can set it to whatever image you want. So let's set it to this image. So there we go. That's good, but as you can see, if I set it to an image, it will actually take a little bit longer to open up, and sometimes it gets a little bit more complicated when you're using images. But yeah, they're kind of useful and they look much nicer. So I'm going to take out the image for now. So you can just delete that. Actually, no, I'm not sure. I kind of want to leave the image in because it looks nice. So let's keep that in there. But now let's actually start working on something. So first thing you want to do is, from your toolbox, you want to drag in a button and just click on the button and make it say go. Actually, we need to scroll down to the text property and make it say go. And then you want to drag in both a label and a text box. Here it is. Okay, so here we go. Now we have this nice looking form with a label and a button and a text box. So just like we did in Visual Basic, you're going to want to double click on the button go to enter the code. Now as you can see, this is slightly different from Visual Basic because because it is a much more complicated language. It is a little bit more advanced, and it actually shows you the initialization of all of the objects and things such as the background. You won't really need to worry about this because most of that you can do using the GUI, and you can change it, but if you need to, you could change it through this code. But usually there's really no point since they have the nice interface. If you're using a different program to compile this rather than Visual Studio, then I can't guarantee you'll have all of this automatically. So yeah, but so now we can get started. So say we want to make it so that when you press this button, whatever's in this text box will be what label 1 says. So to do that, it's very similar to the way you do it in Visual Basic. You just type in, so because we've double clicked on the button to enter that method, we can just type in label 1, and then rather than doing dot text, you have to do an arrow and then text with a capital T equals, and then we can change it to text box 1 and then arrow text. Now this might seem a little bit more complicated at first, but once you get used to it, it's fine. So basically it says that label 1's text is going to equal text box 1's text when we click this button. And the reason we know it's label 1 is not because it says there, because we could change this text to anything, or we could just make it disappear altogether. but it's when you go to name, if I can find it, here it is. So the name of the object is what you're looking for. So the name is label1 for that, and for this the text is blank, but the name is text box 1. So that's how you know what to change this property to. So let's try running this program and see what happens. So it pops up the window, so let's type in hello world. Oops. And hit go, and there we go. We get a nice label saying hello world. So this is kind of good, but the same way I showed you in Visual Basic, maybe you want to create some sort of login system. So let's put in a label that says login. So that's going to be just a text box that tells you. And let's just drag out this other label. Okay, so now we want to make it so that if the text of login is equal to hello, then this label down here, which is invisible but it's right there, will say chicken or something. And if it equals something else, then this will say not authorized, something like that, whatever you want. So we want to do a similar thing. We just want to enter the, whoops, wow, I did not mean to do that. Let's put this label back here. We want to double click to enter the code of the button, and let's just delete this. So now, as you can see, every time you double click on an object, it creates the code for what happens when you click on that object. So if I double click on just the background of the form, it'll say, well, for the form it's different. As you can see, it's form underscore load. So that means when the form loads, it executes everything in here. Or when label 2 is clicked, it executes everything in here. You won't have these if you haven't double clicked on the objects. But as soon as you double click on it, it gives you that method. So it means it just makes your code a little bit more efficient, and you can also just minimize these if you're not using them. So that's kind of a useful thing to do, because you probably won't need those. So, but getting back to the actual program, so you want to say when button 1 is clicked, we need to do an if statement. So we say if open close parentheses, and then so we want to say if text box 1, so if text box 1 arrow text is equal to, and now the reason you use 2 equal signs rather than 1 is because you use 1 if you want to set the value, and you use 2 if you want to check the value. So right now we're saying we're trying to check whether it's equal to hello. So if it's equal to hello, and make sure you put it in quotations so that the compiler knows that it's a string that it needs to check. And I'll get into that later in more depth. So if text box 1's text is hello, then this is what we want it to execute. And then we need to close that, and we need to say else, and then close the else statement. So if it equals hello, then we want to say label 1 text, capital T for text, oh my gosh, text equals welcome, and make sure you put a semicolon after it. And then in here we want to say, so this is if it's not equal to hello, then we're going to say label 1 text equals goodbye. So yeah, this should work pretty well. So let's try executing our program. So just hit Control S and then F5, or the little arrow up there, and it's going to build it. And here we go. So let's type in Hirsch. Hit go, and it says goodbye, because that's what we said it should do if the text doesn't equal hello. If we type in hello, welcome. So that's kind of good. I mean, it's not exactly the most secure system, since you only have to type in your login, and normally you have to type in a username and password. So let's try that actually. So let's change this to user, and let's change this to pass. Okay, so now let's put in another text box. If I can find text box, here it is. Just drag that in, and here we go. So we now have two text boxes. So let's enter the code of the button. Now we want there are actually two ways we can do that. I'm going to be showing you one way right now, and probably the best way to do this is to say if text box 1's text equals hello, and then you can do a double and statement saying basically and text box 2 text equals 1 2 3, then this piece of code will be executed. So let's try that. So we run the program, and so now let's type in hello, but let's not type in 1 2 3. Let's type in some random thing, and it says goodbye. If we type in 1 2 3, it says welcome. So as you can see, that's a pretty good way to create a simple login system. And also, if you want to make it so that you get special characters, I'm pretty sure, well, I don't want to find it now, but you can change the password character value to an X or something. So now this is basically just going to show up with an X rather than actually showing the password. So we want to type in a user of Hirsch, what did we do? Hello, and 1 2 3, and welcome. But if we type in something else, goodbye. So that's kind of a nice way to make a simple login system. In the next tutorial, I'll be showing you how to go to the next form and how to do some more useful stuff. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and please leave any feedback or comments that you have on this series, and any suggestions for where you would like this tutorial series to go in the long run. But for now, thank you for watching this video. My name is Hirsch Agrawal, and I'll see you in my next video.